Hi everyone, this is Grandmaster Eugene Perelshteyn for iChess.net, and today I want to share with you 8 of the most incredible chess combinations that I have seen. In this position, we have one of the oldest combinations between Wilhelm Steinitz and his opponent von Baden-Bellen, where this game was played in 1895, believe it or not, that far back, and white uncorks a really incredible combination. So the very important thing you got to keep in mind is notice that black's king is stuck in the middle. This enables white to open the enemy king with a beautiful sacrifice. If you need more time, go ahead and pause the video and try to solve it on your own. But the very first move here is rook takes e7 exclam. With this rook sacrifice for the knight, white opens up the enemy king. First of all, queen takes e7 simply drops the game on the spot after rook takes. We simplify to an endgame. Black would have to block with the queen. White's gonna have an extra knight. It's pretty much game over. A little bit more complex win happens if king takes e7. Here, it's very important that the king has to be constantly protecting the queen. So after rook check, king d6, we keep checking the king, and pretty much any king retreats are going to be resulted by checks. So rook c5 is a logical way. But now another check, queen c5, king c6, another check. Notice that the queen guards very important c1 square. So there's no back rank mates after queen takes, knight takes. And after king b5, the king hunt continues. Everything is with checks. a4 check, king a5, b4 check. Look, the whole army is participating in the attack, including the pawns. And after king takes, we take on c5 with check, preserve the extra piece, and the king has nowhere to hide from mate. That's why after rook takes e7, black decided to be sneaky. He plays king to f8. So what do you think, guys? Can white take the queen? The queen is free, either with the rook or the queen. And the answer is absolutely not. If you take the queen, you're going to get checkmated yourself. Due to the back rank mate, the king has absolutely no way to get out. So that's why Steinitz had to foresee all of this. And his next move is really remarkable. Rook f7 check. Once again, he's offering the rook. Well, black says thanks, but no thanks. King g8, best defense. And it looks like white's attack ran out of steam. Again, if we take the queen, there's back rank mate. And a lot of players may think, wow, what a great defense by black. But Steinitz so much deeper than this. He says, all right, I am not quite ready to give up. I will continue going for the king, for the mate. Rook g7 exclam. This desperado rook is really the key element to understanding why this combination works. Obviously, king takes rook doesn't work. If king takes rook, we simply take on d7 with check, easy win. Queen takes g7, same problem. After rook takes c8, that's pretty much game over. So black says, all right, I'm just going to go back to h8 and hope for the best. I should mention that going back to f8 is not good because of knight takes h7. We're going to force the king right into the open. And again, after king takes rook, queen takes d7 will win the game. So going back to the position, king h8 was played in the game. And by now you probably guys see the pattern here. We keep opening up the enemy king. Rook takes h7 is basically the same pattern. And here, believe it or not, black was so angry with himself, he simply disappeared from the tournament hall without proper resignation. So Steinitz won in this position. But if we go back, let's try to analyze what would happen after rook takes h7, king g8. So this was probably where a lot of players may think, oh, white has nothing better than to repeat with rook g7, king h8. But now, guys, without the h7 pawn, things are different. The attack continues. Queen h4 exclam. We have to drive the king out by offering the rook. Finally, the desperado rook has been captured, and the checks continue. Check, another check. We're driving the king up. Check, king here, another check. Look at this pattern. And now we bring the king either to d8 or d6. Well, if king d6, queen takes f6 is game over. King d8 is the best defense. And now, really beautiful finish. Let's see if you guys can figure out white to play mate in 1, 2, 3, in 3 moves. So if you need more time, go ahead and pause the video. And the sequence is very simple. Everything is forced. Check, check, and that's right, mate in 1, queen d6, mate. Wow, what an unbelievable combination by the very first world champion. So let's go to the second combination. And this position is from the second world champion, Emanuel Lasker. And you guys might have seen this before. You see the 2 bishops are lined up at the enemy king, but it seems as though black is more or less, everything is protected. Yet, the combination is very much a textbook example of the 2 bishop sacrifice. Well, by now you already know the answer. The first move is bishop takes h7 check. We have to get open that king. King takes, queen takes h5 check, king g8, and now this is probably the most important element of this combination. The king is not quite open yet. We have to sack the second bishop. Bishop take g7, exclam. And this combination has happened since this game probably at least a dozen times, if not more, even among some grandmasters. It's so common. We really need to open up the king. King has to take. If you don't take, there's going to be back rank mates. Rook is hanging. So now queen check. It's very important to drive the king out to the h file. By the way, king f6 is mate in 1. So king has to go to the h file. And now the whole point of the pawn being on f4 is that white needs to get one more piece into the attack. Rook f3 exclam. Well, black could resign or try to play on. He has this one defensive idea where he can try to block the check. So e5 is the only move. Check, queen h6, takes. And if we're for the next move, black position may actually be playable. 2 bishops and the rook for the queen. But white has this very powerful follow-up. Double attack, queen d7, and that's game over. After the bishop moves, queen takes b7, and Lasker easily converted this to win. Wow, what a beautiful combination by the second world chess champion. All right, let's see some cool combinations. And in the next puzzle, here we're going to flip the board because now black is attacking white. This king is under crossfire from the bishops, from the queen, and from the knight. Keep in mind the 2 rooks are perfectly positioned to attack the enemy king. This is a famous game, Rotlewi against Rubinstein. Now, Akiba Rubinstein never became the world champion, yet he is without doubt at that moment one of the top-notch players in the world. This game is played in 1907, and Rubinstein starts off his attack with a masterful sacrifice. Rook takes c3, exclam. He says you can take my rook or my queen. Well, obviously, if you take the rook, we're going to have pretty easy mate. Mate in 2. So white says, I will take your queen. Thank you very much. And this kind of sacrifice on h4 is actually quite common these days when you have such a powerful crossfire with the bishops. And now, incredible second sacrifice. First, we get rid of one defender. Now the queen defends the bishop. We need to get that queen out of the way. Let's see if you can figure out the move. Well, one way is with another rook sacrifice. Rook d2, exclam again. Wow, what a move. Queen really has to take the rook. Otherwise, there is not much you can do. There's all sorts of mate coming up. H2 is under attack, so is the bishop. This is pretty much game over. So queen takes the rook. And now simply check, only move, queen g2. And it looks as though white is doing fine. If we take on g2, king takes g2, you know, black sacrificed way too much material. White is happy to get that queen back. But this is the star of the puzzle. The next move is simply unbelievable. Let's see if you can figure it out. So the queen is totally tied up. That's a big hint. And the king is almost in a maiden net. One more move to finish over the game. And you may see it already. The move is rook h3 exclam. And that's Rubinstein's immortal game. Wow. A quiet move and there is no stopping mate. So you can fight for a couple more moves. You can play rook f2 or rook f3. Rook f3 I just take. And if rook f2, I can simply play bishop takes f2. By the way, if you take my bishop at any moment, of course, mate in one. And this is unbelievable combination. All right, let's move on. So the next combination, we're going to flip the board, is from one of the Russian greats, Alexander Alekhine, the first Russian world chess champion. This game is played in 1917 and may not be known to a wide circle of players. This game is not as common as some of his other sacrifices, yet I really love this one. Alekhine is a genius because he basically doesn't care about material. He just goes for the kill, and in this position he uses none other than pawns, that's right, pawns, to finish off the game. b6 exclam, take my queen. Black says, okay, thank you very much, I will take the queen. And now look what happens next. Simple, quiet move. C takes D. We sacrificed a queen for the knight. But we see the ideas. Obviously, if you take the rook, check, king b8, another check, and then we queen with mate. That was the main point of the puzzle. Yet, black doesn't have to take on c2, and in the game, black played the move rook e to c7. Now, besides that move, black had a very interesting defense, bishop to c7. Now b7 check doesn't quite work, because after king b8, bishop a7, king a7, b8 square is protected twice. But the best move here is very simple. Check, check, and now probably the most unbelievable quiet move you've ever seen, simply king h1. And black is hopeless against tons and tons of white threats. So this is game over, more or less. All right, in the game, black played rook e to c7, also trying to give up material, but Alekhine is not gonna take the rook at all, just yet. b7 exclam, king b8, and now the next move is just one of the most beautiful moves I've seen. Maybe you can figure it out. After the next move, which is a little bit of a quiet move, it's not a check, black is utterly helpless. And the move is d7. Wow, we are simply a whole queen down, and you can give us a check, and that's what happened. But after a simple move king h1, black has nothing better to simply resign. You obviously have no threat. Either I take here mate from the rook and the queen, or I take this way also mate. Unbelievable position, and you can take my rook, of course, and the two pawns are easily doing the job. It's a double check from the rook and from the queen, and you cannot take both of my pieces at the same time, therefore it's mate. Wow, what a great combination. Let's move on. In the next puzzle, this is a pretty famous puzzle by Botvinnik, the world champion that actually did not get to play a match against Alekhine. They were going to play a match, but Alekhine passed away prematurely, maybe months before the match could have taken place. Yet in this tournament, Botvinnik in 1938 proves to be a worthy challenger. He's playing none other than Jose Capablanca, who is considered one of the greatest chess players of his time for his simple, methodical positional wins. Yet here Botvinnik gets everybody involved. The queen was already playing, so is the knight, the powerful pawn. Yet the bishop looks like a big fat pawn, doesn't really do anything. Yet Botvinnik says, with this sacrifice, bishop a3, exclam, I will unravel the defense of the king. Well, black has nothing better than to take. Check. Another sacrifice. Wow. Everything to open the enemy king. Now queen g5 check, king f8 takes, king here, e7, and it looks as though game is over, right? Either e8 check, queen, or queen f8 checkmate. Well, there's no defense, you may wonder, but Kappa finds some perpetual type of ideas. Queen c1, king f2, queen c2, king g3, check. It looks as though this is going to be perpetual. But Botvinnik, when he played the move bishop a3, all the 6 moves ago, he saw this position and he saw a way to escape from checks. King h4, check, king h5, queen a2, and now unbelievable move, simply back to block with the pawns. Check, g4, and now the king hides, and 10 move combination, black simply resigned. Notice the knight is not participating, no defense against queen f8, it's actually mate, or I can simply queen after that, game over. All right, let's move on. So now we're moving to the first American, Bobby Fischer, world chess champion. This is a rare game of Bobby's, and a lot of people may not even know this game because I wouldn't really call this game as an incredible combination, but the move, probably one of the most beautiful quiet moves that I have seen for sure. So now we have the following position. Bishop is under attack, and black is offering to trade queens. So if white trades on c7, black is going to get great counterplay in the endgame, and Fischer needs to come up with some ideas. What to do? What to do? Look at that. Rook takes e4, rook sacrifice. Well, black says, first things first, I'm going to trade queens, then take your rook. And 9 out of 10 players will take the queen back. Either f takes g or h takes g, and after d takes e, you will lose the game. But Fischer saw this far. This is probably one of the greatest moves I have seen. Rook takes d4. This quiet move, giving you the queen, is the winning move. Believe it or not, the queen is trapped. Wow, what a move. Incredible combination by Fischer, and black has nothing better than to give up his queen. So the best try is what black did in the game, queen g4, takes, and now accurate moves are required. We're still in exchange down, but we're going to gobble up a bunch of pawns, and the f pawn is passed. Takes, rook g8, bishop h7, rook h8, simply bishop d3, and now all the money is on the f pawn, rook e8, f7, rook e7, and now another little combination, not that difficult. We want to put the rooks on the same diagonal. f8, takes, bishop b4, a little skewer wouldn't hurt, rook f7, takes, and at the end of the day, white is easily winning. We have 3 against 1, 2 connected passers, and Fischer won the game easily. All right, let's move on. The next combination I want to share with you is from modern times. None other than current world champion Magnus Carlsen shines through with his beautiful combination against a very talented Russian player, super grandmaster Alexander Grishuk. So let's see if you can figure out what to do here by white. We need to break through black's defenses, and Magnus does the job. Rook takes f6. Exchange sacrifice. Well, this is not so difficult. And after pawn takes, knight d7, simply he plays f5. If we take on b8, rook takes b8, opposite color bishops will give black very high drawing chances. But Magnus simply pushes the pawn. c4 exclam. 2 threats. fork and taking the rook gives us opportunity to keep pushing the pawn. Okay, a5, trying the best he can do. c5, bishop g7, takes, and now it looks pawns cannot move, right? This guy is going to be easily blockaded by the bishop. c6 is going to take, but here Magnus steps up. This unbelievable sacrifice. You can't really predict it, trust me, very difficult move. Bishop a6. Wow! Everything to clear up the road for the pawns. A brilliant move, wins on the spot. No defense whatsoever. So if you take the bishop, immediately we can start rolling our pawns. c6, takes, either d7 or c7, this moment doesn't really matter, and the game is over. So after bishop a6, Grishuk says, I'm going to ignore it, but same idea, takes, c6, and here Magnus plays rook c1, and the pawns are simply rolling and resign. No stopping either queen or c7, and game over. Wow, what a brilliant sacrifice by Magnus Carlsen. And everybody can learn a lot from this game. Notice how he took his time. After the first sacrifice, he played knight d7. He took his time to get ready for the next sacrifice, which obviously wasn't obvious. Now bishop a6, simply unbelievable, and that's game over. So unusual moves, sacrifices, passed pawns, all of these kind of things you really have to keep an eye on. And next game I want to share with you by none other than beautiful and strong chess player Judith Polgar. She is the queen of tactics. You know, she's a really incredible player. Probably she is the only woman in history so far to reach top 10 among men. So she is 27-15 in this game against a pretty strong Hungarian grandmaster, Ferenc Berkes, and this game was played in 2003. Clearly, Judith is on the warpath, attacking the king, and she doesn't even care about taking that rook. After you take the rook, g4, the knight's under attack, the bishop's coming to g5, pinning the queen. Why give black any counterplay? Well, how are we going to get to the queen? How is Judith is going to open up the king? If you play h4, I'm not going to take, I'm going to play g4 and simply say, I'm going to pass by you, not open any files, and black is doing good. So the next move is really remarkable. White forces, once again, forces the h file to get opened up, whether black wants it or not. Let's see if you can figure out the move. And the move is g4 exclam. Notice that nobody cares about the rook. h4 is unstoppable, and you can't simply pass me by. All right, rook b8. Black says, I'm not afraid. h4, logical move. Now g6, trying to make that escape square for the queen, for the king. Check, king g7. So far, so good. Black managed to escape. How can white continue next? We need to start throwing our pieces toward the enemy king. Queen f4. Simple chess. Putting pressure on the king by trying to potentially regroup the queen over. Also, we're putting a little bit more pressure on the pawn on f7. And not so easy for black to defend. So black plays bishop to b7. But I think the better defense was to play the move rook h8. We really have to fight for that open file. But after simple moves, rook takes, knight e5, queen e8 to protect f7 square, rook h8, queen h2 is coming, and black is helpless. So let's get back to the game. Queen f4 was played by Judith. Black plays bishop b7. And now, unbelievable sacrifice to get the king into wide open territory. Let's see if you can figure it out, guys. White to play and win. And if you haven't figured out yet, go ahead and pause the video. And the move is rook h7 exclam. Wow, what a game. And Judith probably saw this coming. We have to take more or less. If you don't take, I can double up. So king has to take the rook. Check. king g8. If king g7, the queen h8 doesn't really help, and simply doubling up, and the game is won on the open h-file. So black tries to put up some resistance. Check, check, f4, queen's under attack, mate is a big threat. Black is forced to give up his queen. There is simply no way out. Queen takes f4 check, queen takes f4, bishop takes, queen takes, and black decided to call it a day. There's really not sufficient compensation for the queen. Rook and knight is not enough. Wow, what a game. And again, to go back, really try to understand the sacrifice. First g4, rook b8, h4, and now we prepare for that rook sacrifice. Queen f4, bishop b7, and this remarkable rook h7 check. When Judith Polgar is on the warpath, nobody can stop her. Well, this, guys, concludes our 8 incredible combinations. We have seen probably the most beautiful combinations in chess, and this was just a small sample size. Obviously, there's many, many more, all the way from Wilhelm Steinitz to Magnus Carlsen. Along the way, Judith Polgar and many others showed us incredible chess. And by looking at these positions, trying to solve this on your own, you will learn a great deal, and hopefully you will get to execute some of these combinations in your own games. Thank you very much. See you next time.